Just before we go into the discussions on Sunrise today, there's not so cheery news coming out of Borno State as two loud explosions have rocked the Borno State capital, Maiduguri. The blast occurred around 7:10 a.m. at the Bakassi area of Maiduguri. Unconfirmed sources say two female suicide bombers detonated the explosives in a gathering of women who were going to the farm. We'll bring you more details as soon as we get them.
Yes, now let's get started in earnest, and we'll be looking at the fight against corruption. Up to 30% of Nigeria's GDP will be lost to corruption by 2030 if nothing is done. That is according to a recent report on the impact of corruption on Nigeria's economy. This cost is equated to around $1,000 per person in 2014 and nearly $2,000 per person this will become by the year 2030. With the latest raid on judges, many have argued that the three arms of government in the country are now bugged by corruption. Now, to look at this with us this morning, it's my pleasure to welcome to our studios in Lagos, social commentator, Mr. Biodun Shoumi. Good morning.
Good morning, viewers.
And joining us from Abuja will be a community activist, Hajia Mariam Yakub. Good morning, Hajia.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
And with her is Honorable Vidieno Bamayi, former Deputy Speaker, Adamawa State House of Assembly. Good morning.
Good morning, viewer.
Thank you for joining us. Now let me begin with the bird in hand. Biodun Shoumi is here with us in Lagos. Many in government have declared that every Nigerian is corrupt, and every Nigerian is to be blamed for the situation which we have found ourselves right now. What are your thoughts about that comment?
Yes, there is a truism to it, in the sense that while the voters or the majority of our people have never occupied political offices, we have done very little to challenge, the spirit of corruption in our environment. We have also done little to ensure that our voice counts and our votes counts in the choice of who emerges, as a representative of the people, either as the president of the country or at the level of legislature. And because many voters have accepted, the fact that they can get a slice of the national cake, 500 naira, 1,000 naira to sell their votes, as evidently demonstrated in what happened in Ondo State, then it's quite very disturbing. So one can safely conclude that corruption has permeated, our society at every level, but it is not a fact that all Nigerians are corrupt. There are so many Nigerians that are not corrupt in our country today.
Okay.
But it is widely practiced in our country.
Widely, it seems to be accepted now.
To some extent, yes.
That being said, how would you rate the fight against corruption that is going on now?
The fight against corruption is a brilliant initiative which started before President Buhari. Obasanjo was there, he did his own best in one way or the other, and we had Jonathan also claimed he did his best in his own way, and we now have Buhari trying to crack down beyond the scope of what has been done in the past. The problem the regime, this government ran into is taking the liberty for license. The fact that people endorse the fight against corruption, they want the war to be waged within the rule of law, because the rule of law is the safeguard, in any democracy, constitutional democracy. And if we don't want constitutional democracy, we might as well change it. But as long as we claim we are fighting we are practicing constitutional democracy, then we have to, go with the dictates of the rule of law. At times, it's very inconveniencing. At times, it does not make things as fast as we want it to be. At times, we are so much in a hurry to get things done. But the truth of the matter is, when we fail to follow the rule of law, we are also providing a way out, a technical way out for the accused, because they will raise the issues in court. So those who are insisting that government, no matter what it is, must follow the rule of law, and also supporting the cause of anti-corruption, they only want it done properly in a way that nobody can get away on any technical ground. That is to say that if you want to achieve diligent prosecution, and a successful one, you must ensure that there is diligent investigation, no matter how long it takes.
Okay, let's just go to Abuja. Ajia, you are a community activist, and I'm sure you feel the pulse of the people. What is it that, the people are saying about this current war against corruption?
Yes, just like the people, the ordinary Nigerians that I represented, about 90% of the Nigerian population, corruption is everywhere. It's in the community that we live in, it's on the highway, it's at place of work, it's in all professions, and it has eaten deep into the system. Corruption has taken a life of its own in Nigeria. Corruption is Nigerian human corruption that have head, arms, legs, and is walking everywhere. Corruption sadly affects even those who are doing the corruption and those who are not. Corruption kills, and we have to murder it. We have to kill the corruption before it kills us all. Corruption is everywhere.
Yeah, we have to kill corruption before it kills us. But some people are saying, you can't do this outside of the law. And so how do we ensure that we fight corruption without breaking the rule of law?
Absolutely, I agree. We have to do the, fight corruption within the purview of the law. But you need to understand that we are in an extraordinary condition right now, where the judges, the judiciary are daily make mockery of the judiciary. The due process is not followed. We have cases, it's on record that the head of National Judiciary Institute was accused of fraud of up to tune of 6 billion naira. And instead, he was invited by ICPC. Instead of him honoring the invitation, he was granted, he was asked by a judge of the Federal High Court to ignore the invitation. We have it on record that not only ignoring the invitation, he went further to secure injunction to stop the process completely. Not only did he do this, we also have it on record that he fired the people he suspected that were, exposing his corruption. So, in a situation where all of this is going on, it will be very difficult for us to follow exactly the rule of law where it's broken daily. The people, where the common man's last hope were being violated, how do we go about it without using extraordinary, in these extraordinary circumstances, without using extraordinary means? This is the way I see it. And I think we need to work harder. The citizens need to come and join the government in this fight to kill corruption.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Bamayi now. Mr. Bamayi, what would you say to those who are insinuating that this fight against corruption seems to be selective?
Thank you very much. I must lay the foundation that we are absolutely in support of the fight against corruption, and corruption must be fought in all its ramifications. The truth is that if you look at the indices, the people that are being